I've been working on a lot of Marvel Rivals content, but I need to pause for a second, because we need to talk about Thor. If you've been a Thor main since the beginning, you probably felt what's been going on with him. Bunch of recent changes hit him really hard. Not just small tweaks, it's a fundamental shift in how he plays. With what they've done, none of it's a straight up buff. Thor isn't necessarily better now, he's just different, a lot different. And that means the way you play him has to change. And the most recent update allowing you to cancel Awakening Rune is kind of key to all of it. A lot has shifted since my original guide. I wanted to take a step back and walk through what's changed, what it means for his role, and how you can still find success with Thor. Because yes, he can still be effective, very effective, but the flow of his kit, the way you approach his combos, how you stay alive, it all works a lot differently. Let's start with two changes that really altered his playstyle. First, his scaling got nerfed. Each Thor Force used to give you 100 health, now it gives 75. That drops your max bonus health from 200 to 150. It's a big loss, and on top of that, the hammer throw no longer consumes Thor Force, which means he loses a core source of his sustain, of his survivability. And a lot of these numbers might seem small on paper, but in the middle of a fight, it's a huge difference. If you've been brawling with Thor like before, he feels off, he feels kinda bad. That means we have to change some things. But the second major change, the hammer throw itself was completely reworked. It's no longer a burst damage and heal combo, because that's exactly what it was. Now it's just a standard ability with a 6-second cooldown. It deals significantly less damage, just 45, instead of the 70 that it did before. And instead of consuming Thor Force to give you the 100 bonus health, it now generates just 1 Thor Force per enemy hit. The problem is, that completely removed one of Thor's most reliable sustain tools in his close range loop. Because before, when you brawled, you can go primary hammer throw. Remember, the hammer throw and primary can be used at the same exact time. They'll share the same animation, so they would both hit at once. Meaning, back then, it was 115 damage, and since you consumed a Thor Force, you also got 100 health. Now, it's 90 damage and 0 health. That sucks. So, where does that leave us? Thor still has the 4 core abilities, but now only 2 of them actually give you bonus health. His survivability, and that survivability is what makes Thor, Thor. We have Storm Surge, which is the dash. After you use it, Thor gains the 75 overhealth, and then Awakening Rune. It consumes all of your Thor Force, you throw the projectiles, and it gives you the max 150 overhealth. So Storm Surge is still a quick reactive move that you can refresh often. The hammer throw doesn't give you any anymore, and the Awakening Rune, it became more important than ever because not only are they allowing you to do it more, you can dish out more damage, but it's the second and only way to grant bonus health. So when they thankfully got the quality of life upgrade, allowing you to cancel it, it got better. And that might be the biggest silver lining of the update, because until recently, Awakening Rune just locked you into a 5-second animation. You were very vulnerable in that state. Yeah, you could deal damage, but you were a sitting duck. So now when you want, you can press the button again, cancel out of it, and immediately regain control of Thor. And that gives you options. The Awakening Rune, you use it as poke, it can down deployables, it can burst flyers, it can melt shields, it can melt duelists and strategists, and when you get into trouble now, you're no longer stuck in it. You can cancel out, reposition, start swinging again. And honestly, before I go on, that's something important you just need to do. You need to get it in your play loop. Whenever you cancel the rune or the timer runs out, after that, the hammer glows blue. And when that hammer glows blue, a primary hit gives you Thor Force back. So right after you cancel the rune, land a primary, and this keeps your Thor Force rotation going. But for Thor mains who love the close range brawling playstyle, there's some good news. There's still a way to go about that. It just looks different, because before it was the hammer throw with the primary that cancel, primary, the hammer throw cancel again. So it was the big burst of 115 damage, plus you got 100 health, you had primary, then another burst of 150 damage and 100 bonus health. It was great, but it's all gone. So what do we do instead? It's what I talked about in the previous guide. It's what I call the Bully Bash combo. It's built around Thor's dash, the Storm Surge, and your primary swing. So it's gonna go dash, primary, dash. Over and over again. Each time you dash, you get 75 bonus health, and the timing of the 3 melees in between the primaries lines up perfectly with your dash cooldown, letting you loop this over and over for continuous sustain. And remember, when you use the Storm Surge dash, you can knock them up and displace them even more. So you dash them up into the air, 3 primary hits, dash them up into the air, keep going over and over. But with this combination, you get some of that survivability back. And now, since it's on a 6-second cooldown, you can also weave in the hammer throw cancel during one of these 3 primary swings. And again, it's by pressing primary and the hammer throw at the same time. That adds an extra 45 burst damage. Your full combo becomes dash in, 45 damage, then 45 plus 45 for the primary and hammer throw, then another primary for 45, and then another dash for 40. So it's roughly 260 damage, but importantly, it has 150 health gained from the 2 dashes. So it's something like this in the background that you've been seeing. That's your new bread and butter combo for these isolated fights and you're brawling, because you need that sustain, you need that survivability. Meanwhile, we have Awakening Rune, what it's turned into. It's a whole new thing to try to weave in. It does two main things. One, it's the extra 150 overhealth instantly. Two, it's pressure. So you consume it, 150 overhealth instantly. You can fire 11 of these projectiles. Now you can cancel it early if needed. And you do that to reposition, try to jump back in for melee brawling, and you're going to be canceling it a lot. But first, generating Thor Force is actually easier than before. And this part's really important. Here's the flow of that. After you land a dash, which is a Storm Surge, the hammer turns blue. Whenever that hammer is blue, if you land a primary right after, you get a Thor Force refresh, so you get one back. You land a hammer throw, you get a Thor Force back. On top of that, as we discussed a second ago, after you're done with or cancel the Awakening Rune, the hammer turns blue. So you follow it up with a primary, get a Thor Force back. When you cast the Lightning Realm, that's the bubble, each enemy within there gives you one Thor Force back. So there's a world where you can use Awakening Rune, get done with it, or cancel it. You're gonna have 0 Thor Force. Your hammer's blue, so you do the hammer throw cancel, which is primary hammer throw at the same time. This gives one Thor Force back because the hammer was blue, another one back because of the hammer throw, and then use the Lightning Realm. All 3 are immediately back. And the Thor Force loop rewards good timing. It keeps you constantly moving between your cooldowns. But with what you need to do now is you're going to rotate between the Bully Bash combo that I went over and the Awakening Rune, because the Bully Bash is the best thing you can do to stay alive in 1v1s, because it's repeatable 75 health bursts over and over. Then Awakening Rune is that 150 HP instant overhealth, and it's also a great poke option. So these two forms of your sustain, your health, it's how you survive. And I've found it's really the only way to make Thor work now is if you treat both of these as your lifeline. Let me give you an example. I'm brawling with Captain America, he comes in, so I dash in, I start doing the Bully Bash combo. We're trading shots, I keep refreshing my 75 health. We're trading, he's trying to move around, I keep knocking him around, but I see that he drops to about half health, so I commit. I pop Awakening Rune. That's 150 bonus health instantly. I start melting him and chasing him down. Eventually, he can't get away, I down him. Then I run into an Iron Fist. And it just so happens my Awakening Rune timer is ending. If not, I could have canceled it. Since I just got done, the hammer's blue, I hit him with it, refresh with Thor Force, and I go right back into the Bully Bash combo, over and over, even into his block. I keep getting the 75 health refresh, because I know he's going to come right out with the flurry punches. When he does that, I pop the Awakening Rune, the 150 health burst, I stand my ground and use the rune on him, and get the down. Like, that's the loop, that's Thor now. It's going in between these two things, the dash and the rune, with the hammer throw in between. And canceling the rune comes up a ton. You do it a lot of the time to make sure you're not a sitting duck, meaning again, you're focusing on your survivability. Because really, this is what's happening when you do a cancel. What's really going on. You pop the Awakening Rune, you gained 150 overhealth, that's great. But you're in this throwing animation of the projectiles. Say you get shredded, just absolutely obliterated, and they shred away your 150 overhealth instantly and they start going into your actual health. So you cancel it. The hammer is blue, you dash into them, you get 75 back. So your 150 health got burnt, but you replaced it with 75s as soon as possible through the dash. And if you need to, you look behind you, dash up into the air and dash away, dash back to your strategist. You do have some mobility with Thor. And sometimes, actually a good amount of the time, the situation shifts mid-fight and the cancel is to isolate somebody. Like right here, I have a Doctor Strange, there's a strategist behind him. So I'm trying to chunk down that strategist, I activate the runes. I get the instant 150 health, I get some hits in. As I'm pushing forward, a little bit of my bonus health gets chipped away, not that big a deal, not worried, but she's trying to retreat. Usually she would pop a bubble down, but in this case, I don't think that she had the cooldown, and besides, she's in the area of Ultron's healing drone, so she's getting constant healing. So instead of staying locked into Awakening Rune, I cancel it, the hammer's blue, I do a swing, gives me a Thor Force back. That means I can immediately start going back into the Bully Bash combo, and what that's doing is knocking her back and away and peeling her away from her Vanguard. This puts me back into control. Now I keep refreshing 75 health with each dash, just pressuring her, meleeing her, and I get the down. So that's the other powerful thing about being able to cancel, is to isolate and pressure with the bash combo. I was doing my thing, found someone I wanted to down. When I dash into them, I push them away. I'm isolating them. So being able to cancel the rune gives you a ton of flexibility. It's the freedom to kind of flow into the next phase of the fight. So whether you're brawling a Captain America or dueling an Iron Fist, you're combining this rune and this Bully Bash combo, getting survivability. It's the core of Thor's playstyle now. Because in the end, what it's about now is the same exact thing it's been about the entire time with Thor. It's about always maintaining his overhealth. But now it's with smart timing and adapting. And yeah, you can do things like Rune, throw a couple projectiles, cancel it to go right into the melee hammer throw. That's fine. But really, that's going to happen no matter what, because if you do that Bully Bash combo, that's just going to kind of happen naturally. You will be canceling, that way you can get out of it to do a hammer throw, and a dash to get health back. So yeah, to all the Thor mains, it isn't a pure upgrade. You lost some very real tools. The biggest one is the constant sustain off the hammer throw, and also dished out like great burst damage. But he can still brawl. He does still have survivability, but you just have to express it differently. He bounces between this dash-based sustain and the rune-based pressure. You rotate them properly, you're still tanky, you're still disruptive, you're still lethal, but it's just always been about his eye of time on overhealth. They lowered it all a little bit, and there's only 2 ways to do it. And what it means now is you need to focus on it 100% of the time, instead of like 50. It's not just about dealing damage or more damage with the rune. It's about managing your survivability. Using the dash for 75, the rune for 150, weave in throws for burst, or forced recovery, the cancel rune to reposition, or to isolate. You're going to be swinging after every cancel, after every rune, after every dash, after every throw, keeping the Thor Force loop going, and keeping the overhealth buffer alive. That's the new way to play Thor, and when done right, it's still powerful. He still hits hard, still disrupts fights. More than ever though, he does reward disciplined timing and smart cooldown management. And if anyone's going to show what he's still capable of, it's all the players who have stuck with him. So keep adapting and remind the enemy what a good Thor can do to them. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. A lot of people are scared off of Thor because of what people say. And I just found that you need to play him a lot differently. I'd love to hear your thoughts though. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching. And until the next one, I'm CoolGuy.